Binary codes, algorithms, all about the future right here with the robotic guys. It's Redonda Robots presenting the robotics workshop. Admission is free at Patrick Lake's Learning Center. I've got Mark, Xavier, and Hannibal Fleming in the studio with me this morning. And we've got lots of toys on the table. Can everybody see the toys? Because the toys are very important. Right? Nerds with toys. I love it. So tell me, what's this all about? Who are you teaching? What age group are you teaching? And how long are you doing this for this summer?
So this program has started since Monday and will be running until the 31st of August this year. We were here last year, we launched the program. We had roughly 120 kids last year. And as such, the library has been somewhat overwhelmed with just the number of patrons. So this year we're split up between the Patrick Lake's Learning Center, which is online on Richard Street, which is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And Saturdays.
The public library, Saturdays.
Yes.
And the public library, which happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because of, we're expecting a volume of children to show up like last year.
And you're really trying to get kids interested in just mash up the ceiling.
I mean, I wouldn't say
widen
much.
your imagination and.
Okay, so most children are used to designing, doing things with their hands.
Yes.
Now, most children don't like math because they've never been taught math in a different mean or different manner. So now we teach different things. So like we teach conceptualization of design and algorithms and basically how to solve problems and getting solutions. But there's a bunch of big theory words that we can use. But in reality, we're just teaching them how to solve and get a solution.
Okay, which makes perfect sense.
Right.
Because kids definitely are image and hands-on.
Image and hands-on. So if you give them heavy theory, they're gonna start to sleep on you, nod a little. They'll pay attention because they're here for 3 hours, but they'll try their best. But if you give them, something to build.
So take me from scratch then, because there's lots of toys on the table.
So there's roughly 4 different models on the table. The 2 in front are pre-builds that were purchased and then assembled. The 2 in the back were built locally, so we got the material from local hardware stores to show that even though you may not have access to the more refined machinery, you can still participate. In my hand here is a center of all of our, the brain, which is the back end of everything. It's called a microcontroller. It's a small computer. And as you can see, there's a USB card. This gets plugged into a computer. And this is where we enter the logic and the code into the machine. And once that happens, then we attach it to the system and then it does the functions that we've programmed it to do.
Basically.
I love the fact that you get all the plexiglass and all the metal bits and bolts and wheels and so on. I kind of thought I saw a little Tonka toy wheels business going on somewhere here, but
The wheels would have to be brought in, but everything else I can just get here.
They're microcontroller specific components that can be easily purchased.
Imported.
One of the robots can run anywhere from $50 to $300, depending on the level of complexity that you want to make the robot and the components that has to be put on board.
all right, any of them can lift off?
No, we have no
Any
drones.
hoverers there?
Not yet.
Well, I mean, not yet, and I don't think you'd want us to introduce power tools for children right away. So.
Why not? You have to teach them the discipline of it from now.
Yes, but there's waivers and other things that we're not really
bunch of
ready
health
to take care
concerns.
of.
That's a lot of red tape.
Yes, but for now, what these robots are doing. So last year's program, we got the teams. We separate the kids into teams in different
teams.
And age groups are what?
10 and above.
10 and above.
Okay.
If your child is younger than 10 and you think they have the aptitude, they're very smart, and you want to bring them, we welcome them with the caveat that the parent has to stay with them and supervise them. And I run on daycare.
Okay,
right?
because it's maturity.
There's a level, we found that,
level of
yes,
maturity
the
there.
younger children have the aptitude to understand it, but they get bored easily and
Attention span
right.
very short.
We're not there to babysit children.
Yeah.
So if a parent thinks that their child, can participate and they want to, we encourage it, but it's not drop off your kid and leave, because we don't have the resources currently to be babysitting and teaching the class. So last year's program got us as far as the builds, and the robots can move forward, backwards, turn, and sense. This year, with the completion of the program with the kids that came last year, is that we should be able to build a maze, and like this robot that's already completed. In front here is a sensor. That the robot knows how to move and find the walls, and it will be able to actually figure out the maze and then solve it.
Okay.
So these rovers are fully autonomous and has some level of intelligence. They're not remote control cars that we're playing with. Once we set them up and let them run, they have a function, and the competition will be how efficiently can your robot complete the task, which will be finding its way through a maze.
So for viewers out there, that's similar to the Hoover that you get on the floor
Pretty
that
much.
finds the walls
Yes.
and
Yeah,
still cleans your carpet.
I guess
Pretty much.
It's basically the same thing, because I'm using an ultrasonic sensor here just to check left or right to see what's in front of it.
Okay.
And then it makes a decision what it wants to do then.
All right.
So,
And it
Right,
makes a
and scanning the
decision
room,
as to what you want it to do then through your algorithm that you
that
have
is on
programmed
board
into
on
your
the-
board.
Yes, that's on.
All right,
on
and
the
that's
Arduino.
what the children are learning.
Yes,
also.
so the children are learning several things besides the basic of problem solving. So what we do is we encourage them to open their imagination. So one kid last year said he's going to build a robot that cleans his room, you know. So
Awesome.
a lot
Good
of the things,
stuff.
yes, a lot of the inventions we have today, like once upon a time somebody said I'm going to have a piece of glass that I can talk on and view video, and everybody thought that was insane. Now that's an iPhone or any phone, right? So it's the next generation, the millennials and so forth. They have, you know, they have a lot of imagination, but the limitation of what can be done sometimes is they're starving because they don't see the opportunities ahead of them, right? And we found that some of the kids that are so, you know, what people call disgusting, you know, like to mash things up, you know, you give him a toy, he broke it up, and he was like, oh my God, this kid is just destructive. He's not. It's a level of curiosity that has not been allowed to flourish. So by introducing robotics to them, by introducing problem solving, by teaching them coding, all right, we begin to have them learn critical thinking. And what we've found is even the kids that we've had last year, we've been speaking to the parents, there have been marked improvement in their attention to the science and the math at school, because they know now this thing, even though it didn't make sense before, I know that if I am trying to understand this and learn this, it has a function in the future.
I love it. I love it. Now, I see you're using certain material here, but is there going to come a day when you're going to get into, you know, the new, almost like a thin skin of material that you're coding on?
I probably could.
Whatever the future holds.
Imagination.
Which again, you have a very, maybe you should come to the program. We need people like you. Well,
it's doable, because I think our president, we just did something similar to one of these on a nano, basically the size of this, entire finger.
Yeah,
And if you can get it even smaller, yeah, you can go on your hand.
absolutely.
so again, we are one of the premier groups in Antigua that's helping to introduce STEM. Actually, this year, Mark actually working with UNICEF, and Red Cross.
Combination of UNICEF and Red Cross Antigua for the STEM program in Barbuda Hope.
Awesome.
So we did, I think, 6 months of, well, I was the one doing STEM for robotics, where I did small builds similar to this, but I made them choose different designs. I didn't let them copy mine, so I let them do different designs so that they can actually build. And they did a similar obstacle sensing. So
And this is the focus of this for Barbuda specific to what?
Barbuda
What's
Hope
the
is just
end game supposed to be?
Same thing, STEM. It's introducing.
introduction of STEM to the program and the syllabi, so that they can get used to it and then look forward to different ventures in life. So it's not just they only see certain avenues that they can tackle later in life, but they get open to different things. And
Okay, what I was trying to get at is I was hoping you would tell me, okay, this robot that I build in Barbuda will be able to map the lagoon eventually.
No, but the thing, you're going a lot. You are thinking the right way.
Because now
Going the
they
right
have the
path.
experience with building, they can go forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, this is more entry level for kids who, again, one of our main focuses, we're talking to Mrs. Maskell Stacy, who is one of the senior education officers. Her children actually participated in the program last year. And we're working closely with Mrs. Mannix and Mrs. Spencer at the public library, along with Mr. Lake, right, Mr. Patrick Lake, who is one of Antigua's premier
Yes.
You know, I think he's knighted and so forth.
I swear by him.
Yes.
Three
So
children went
right.
through him.
So again, we are also you know, we're also students of his product, right?
Yes.
Because when I lived in Antigua a long time ago, I went to Mr. Lake and
They taught me most of my math.
Yes. So
amazing, guys.
So these are people who have a very vested interest in science and technology in Antigua and helping the public school to ascend into the STEM. So the reason why the program is free is because we think there's a lot of children who may not have the opportunity otherwise to be able to access this level of technology.
Exactly.
So between the public library, Mr. Lake, and the government school sector, and again, it's open to everyone. We're encouraging, we're asking, and we're looking for talented students, because the end goal of this is we want to, even though it's math and science, we still want to make it fun. So our end goal, it may not happen this year. As you can see, we've been coming incrementally to you guys. The next time we come to you guys, which might be either the end of this summer or next summer, we want to have a competition. So we already starting to, you know, encourage this competitive nature between the little groups, because they're split into groups. And like this current one has what's called a light show on it. These 3 LEDs, if we plugged it in, and they have to come up with creative ways of making these 3 lights blink in different ways. And the one that makes it the most creative, like a Christmas show. Christmas show. The one who has the best. So we give out different prizes, which are other components for your robot. So it's not like money prize or anything. And the end goal is all of these robots, again, depending on the design and the build, we're looking for them to compete against each other and make it fun. So that would probably be next year.
My mind has gone to somebody like Sonali, who is a graphic designer, and that would be an interesting conversation between art, science, and technology.
Absolutely.
And then the robots begin to take on a different shape and form and size.
Yes, you could include inside
the
art
children are
collective.
learning that there's design even in science. There has to be design.
Because I teach them architectural design. Well, Nigel teaches them specific technical drawing designs for all of these builds.
Yeah.
Right.
So regardless of how we build it, he shows them that you have to design ahead, you have to plan ahead. Because if you don't, you can have no space to put things.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So it is your Redonda Robots, right? And you're doing the robotics workshop. It's admission free at Patrick Lake, and it's also at the library.
So it's alternating days.
So tell us the alternating days.
So Monday, you will show up at the Learning Center on Lionel Hurst Street, and we'll be working there on Monday. Tuesday, we'll be at the public library. And then Wednesday, we're back at Mr. Lake's Learning Center. So we're alternating the days, because once the group gets above 50, you know, we want to have the ability for each of these organizations to kind of have a break, because dealing with 150 children every day and cleaning up behind them and so on, it's rough. So we're alternating days. Monday, Mr. Lake. Tuesday, the public library. Wednesday, back to Mr. Lake. Thursday, back to the public library. Friday and Saturday, back at Mr. Lake's.
This is a full day?
No, it's 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So it's in the evening, yes.
And on Saturdays, it's 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Right. So that way the parents can, you know, do what they need to do. Most of the kids are in camps anyway, or have some other activity during the day. So we selected that slot so we're not conflict with anybody. In conflict,
And don't forget, it's free.
It's free.
Free is the operative word. So if you're out there, check Mark Xavier, check Hannibal Fleming, check the Redonda Robots at presenting this robotics workshop for your children, because believe me, our children are already behind. They need to get in front because their peers are already in front. This is a perfect opportunity for you to drop your kids off there, or if they're under 10 and may be taken in, you have to stay with them, parents, and maybe you and all might learn something. So go out and get with the program. It's all about the algorithm. We'll be right back after this message.